With that, we are ready for our last talk of the day. And for this last discussion, I'm going to bring on Daniel to talk to you about how we're getting a lot more people from Australia and rest of APAC to the space, and what can we do to actually get more and more support, whether it's funding, education, or just opportunity to get them to contribute more into our ecosystem. So please welcome Daniel.
All right, GM. I asked that actually yesterday. Everyone knows what GM is here? Anybody? Okay, it's good day, mate, in case you didn't know. So, very briefly for myself, I am founder of Bitforward, at the moment a hedge fund, also a farmer, so not just eel farming, also like touch grass, touch earth, and produce fruits and vegetables. And co-organizer of Ethereum Sydney, which started at some point 2015, bringing the nerds together since the early days. You can find me on socials, and I guess I kind of took the opportunity to give some motivational and background details after this massive, beautiful lineup for Pragma. So some of the early Aussies in crypto, besides Craig Wright, which everyone loves and knows, you know, finally we have Satoshi as proud Aussies. We also had quite a lot of people that were early contributors to Ethereum, including as well Doge, which maybe some of you may know was created originally by an ex-Aussie. Then shortly after the Ethereum network was launched, Orin, which spoke here earlier, actually the way that I got to know Orin was because he was a part of the working group of the DAO. There used to be a DAO, and I was interested in governance based on chain, so that's how I got to know Orin as a new migrant to Australia. So the Australian crypto community goes a long way back, both in Ethereum and in crypto in general. You'll find a lot of OGs. Some chronology, so things really started ramping up in 2016. We ran the first blockathon. This was a blockchain hackathon at the time. Before, we had fantastic things like ETH Global that runs them all over the world, and tomorrow kicking off an epic thing here in Sydney. Kind of coinciding with the ICO season. And some of you may know Boki Puba. Anyone raise hands if you know Boki Puba? A lot of hands, and also a lot of people would know through just browsing on forked GitHub repos, you would know that you have Boki Puba's codes floating around. So back when we ran the first blockathon, you can see here on the timestamp, 2017, Boki Puba was contributing 10 ETH for the first prize winner of the blockathon. This was the Crypto Cats, which were the first Larva Labs punks fork. Haven was also one of the biggest ICOs at the time, came out of Australia. Since then, everyone knows as Synthetix. Interesting historical facts you can still find on the blog, like migrating to EOS that ended up not happening. But just for the lols, I figured I'll put it there. And later, as everyone knows, Kane was the founding father of modern agriculture on chain, right? So SNX started all this agriculture there. And geopolitical context, both for Australia and for innovation in the world in general. Some of you may have heard of the concept of ascending versus descending world, which is not so much only by geography, but also by literacy, and no longer like a third world classified or first world. It's pretty much like where there is literacy, where there is ambition, we're going to see first world ascension. And I guess even before crypto, we started seeing that the trend of APAC, and probably with the biggest two countries in APAC being China and India, is very much so in the ascending world, and both because of the population hub and the ambition and the general education level. And in the APAC city, if we look at APAC as a part of a city, then Australia and New Zealand is kind of the posh suburbs of town that are a bit quieter, but great talent, great ambition, and a lot of people that like to play with crypto as well. Singapore kind of like the new New York. Someone asked, what is Hong Kong? A little bit of the ex-New York, but still excellent Yamcha. And some word on innovation culture. So I'm a migrant from Israel originally, and as someone that has seen innovation culture in different regions, I noticed that in different places, economies would have different edges. And very often it's something that is influenced by geopolitics. So Israel has a certain geopolitics that birthed cybersecurity, cryptography excellence, and you see that a lot of the academic papers, be it in ZK or in other fundamental cryptographic approaches, are originating often from Israel. Now all of those nerds are very happy to be rock stars serving in different foundations, so it's good to see. And also semiconductors, this was my career before crypto. I attribute much of this to being a byproduct of the defense sector and scarce resources, because this is the kind of story of the region there. Now, if we're looking at Australia in a geopolitical context, Australia and New Zealand are kind of isolated from the rest of the world. They're very much like good life, convenient life, not so much scarce resources and not so much need for hardcore defense. So what we see that entrepreneurs here often are very busy with is improving everything because it's already so good, so we just care about improving even better, and we complain if things are not like absolutely perfect. And that's why you see things like Atlassian, Canva, which like I would attribute much of what kind of signifies the commonalities there as products that are perfecting the user experience of creation of things, right? And that's kind of in the UX aspect of things. And the second thing that you see here a lot is just go out in CBD here and look at the tall towers. What is the brands and logos that you see there? Usually it's banks and other financial companies. So basically people really like to play here with money. Banking sector is quite strong, and then startups like Zero, which actually originated from New Zealand, but pretty much an Australian-New Zealand story there. And then with crypto also, we see that the things that are like Zora or Synthetix or Immutable. So user experience excellence, finance excellence, you have a lot of wizards here that are just like really good in this stuff. And I guess if we're going a step further beyond the physical geography, something that is, I guess, maybe more a motivational or philosophical aspect to why Web3 is even important, not just for Australia, but I guess for all of us that are building the future. There is this concept of third place, and recently it occurred to me that Web3 and third place have a lot of commonality. So in the third place's concept, first place is home and family, second place work or colleagues, and third place, it's the places where important cultural narratives are being created, be it public places like pubs, church, parks, where you hang out, where you're off duty from work, where you're off duty from being a family man or like generally in the house. So these are where suddenly like things that are, could be a little bit unhinged, could be creative. These are the things that are defining of what is the culture of the place. Very often it's related to public good, and public goods in general is a very good metric to look at the health of a social fabric. So like as a rule of thumb, how I look at it is that the level of development of public good and the accessibility is really correlated to social fabric health. Essentially, you have a country that has fantastic natural resources but very corrupt leadership, then there would be not so much access to public good. Otherwise, you have a good country that maybe have limited resources but have fantastic education, fantastic parks, whatnot, and then you'll see that people are feeling safe to create and be entrepreneurial and whatnot. And I guess like Singapore is maybe one of those examples. And then similarly, if we're looking at designing a third place in the web, so the cyber wilderness essentially, a meme tweet from Udi, the ex-Bitcoin maximalist, people relocating to the metaverse for tax purposes. But in some respects, really, like what's so beautiful and special in what we're creating in Web3 is that you have properties that are very different to what we had in the web until now. So some of the features that we're familiar with from DeFi, for example, composability of smart contracts, that people can take those money Lego blocks and build yet new products. Something that is not trivially existing with just any permissioned API that exists in fintech products, for example. Permissionlessness to participate as a miner even in Bitcoin, or as a relayer or validator, whatever it is. Decentralization, and be it in the form of governance, be it in the form of whether it's the gaming asset that has economy that is not only anchored to one company. Essentially, all that free market tokenization leads to very many new opportunities that are creating these third places on the web, organic emergence, cyber wilderness. And education as well, which is probably the most important bit. In some respects, the fact that we're here and the entire hackathon spaces that are physically gathering a lot of people are allowing us to create those spaces for people to come and learn, get to be exposed to new opportunities for their work or funding, and get to start epic stuff. And this is a snapshot from, I think, either the first or second blockathon we had there. You have here at the back, maybe some people can recognize, Age from Sigma Prime. Sigma Prime has been an always mentor in our hacks, and Nick Addison always as well. And these kids that you see were winning the hackathon in 2018 as tiny little kids, are both, I think, taller than me and are working on AI crypto products these days. Like whenever I meet them, and like just to hear their ideas is mind-blowing, and to see them just like keep attending those events, this is like the greatest gift as a community organizer and builder in the space myself. So yeah, that's into the cyber wilderness, and I figured that maybe some people didn't sign up as hackers for tomorrow, and Karthik yesterday dropped in the ETH Sydney event and said that people can still sign up. So if you didn't sign up, please sign up as a hacker. Even I signed up as a hacker, actually. I have a cool project that I'm going to share there and work on. Also, the Suzu Hacker House, which will be held next week. I think we're kind of close there, but if you're interested in that, please reach out afterwards, and we may see if there is something to do, or for future hacker houses, touch grass in nature, touch earth, work hard. And yeah, pretty much that's it. Just maybe final remark there. A lot of what we're going to do throughout this year is a part of the road to Devcon. So Devcon is going to be happening in Bangkok, Thailand in in November. And between now and November, we're going to throw a lot of events, hackathons, and if you want to get involved, be it as a builder, as a volunteer, reach out to me or Bob or any other of the ETH Sydney crew, and yeah, get involved. Or if your project wants to also like sponsor or bring your technology in front of developers, would be epic. And yeah, grateful to be the closing speaker for the event, and that would be that.